How's it going, everybody? My name is Justin, and today I'm going to be talking about 3 things that I think have helped me the most in my first 9 months of learning Spanish. So I want you to know that I'm also making a video of this completely in Spanish. So if you guys are interested in that, I'm going to put a link up here in the cards and also in the description below. So if you guys want to switch over to that video as well and see what the actual progress looks like, then you can actually see that too. So in 9 months, I've learned a lot of things about Spanish, and I've learned a lot of things about my ability to learn Spanish. Now today, I'm going to give you guys 3 tips that I have found have been the most helpful things for me in my first 9 months of learning Spanish. Now of course, these may not be perfect for you, but for me, my work schedule, and for the way that I learn, I've found that this has been the most effective and the most helpful way for me to learn Spanish over the last 9 months. Now before I get into that, I do want to give one quick update about one of my goals for learning Spanish. If you guys remember from a long time ago, I gave my goals and why I want to actually learn Spanish. Number 1, I was tired of not being able to understand what was going on the soccer field. Number 2, I'm a physical therapist and I want to be able to speak Spanish with my Spanish-speaking patients without a translator. Number 3, I want to be able to travel and have regular conversations with people in their native countries. But a quick update about number 2, and this is really exciting because this is really important to me. I want to be able to speak with my native Spanish-speaking patients without needing a translator. And what's really cool is over the last couple of weeks, I've had this one patient from Guatemala who doesn't speak any English, 0. And he and I have actually been able to have normal conversations in Spanish, talking about all sorts of things, but also I've been able to actually treat him and we're completely understood between the two of us. So this has been really exciting for me because this is one of my goals, and this is what I wanted to be able to achieve with learning Spanish. And so here I am having conversations with this guy and able to understand everything he's saying. He's able to understand everything that I'm saying. Now, of course, it's not high level, but I'm able to have conversations. I'm able to speak in full sentences, and I'm understanding the sentences that he is saying to me. Now, of course, he's speaking a little slower, but that's okay. Now, moving into my 3 tips. Number 1, input works. Comprehensible input is really helpful. Now, if you've listened to any other Spanish-speaking or Spanish-learning YouTube channels, then you know that this is probably a broken record. But listen, this is how we learn our native language, is by listening a lot and eventually by reading a lot. Okay, so we listen a lot to our parents as we're growing up, and as we get into school and start doing different things, we start hearing and we start comprehending. Later on, we get to a point where we can read, and then we can start taking in more info for ourselves. So this has been the most important thing for me, is getting enough input and getting frequently enough so that I can frequently enough get that, how do I even put this? Get that stimulus for learning. So different ways that I've been getting that input: podcasts, YouTube, reading articles online, ESPN Deportes, and things like that. Now, I need to read a lot more in order to help build my vocabulary. So a couple of things that I've been doing more recently I have been reading like graded readers and things like that. This is really important for me, is to find something that I am interested in reading. That's kind of hard for me to do. I don't love to read in English, so finding something that I can understand and that's not frustrating for me to read in Spanish has been a little bit of a challenge. But short stories in Spanish by Ollie Richards, this has been incredible because you can read at your level, and I am at somewhere around A2 B1 level, so this book has been perfect for me, and I actually have the next level up as well for when I finish this. I'm a little over halfway through, but I've been going through and using his recommended reading methods, which means that I end up reading each story probably 3, maybe 4 times. but it's to help you understand completely exactly what's going on and understand all of the words. So that has been extremely helpful for me. Secondly, I also got this cool little book called it's a story about Don Quixote, but it's Libros Bilingües para Niños, children's bilingual books. So basically what this is, it's literally side by side English and Spanish. So you've got the story on one side, in Spanish, and I know you can't read that because it's way too bright, but the story on one side in Spanish, and then the story on the other side in English. So that has been extremely helpful for me, and don't be afraid to read children's books. That's the level I'm at, and I'm enjoying it. So I'm enjoying learning the new words, and I'm enjoying figuring out those grammar structures and things like that. So input works, guys, and I definitely want you to do that as much as possible. Now, my second piece of advice, and this has been one of the more helpful things for me, again, there may be some people that think that this is not necessary or maybe not helpful early in the learning process, but for me, I have wanted to speak with people, so number 2 is speak with native Spanish speakers. And I've done a lot of this through voice message, through voice message through apps like Tandem or HelloTalk. And these have been extremely helpful for me because this is the best way for me to get listening input that's very, very natural and through conversations that I'm actually interested in. So it's been extremely, extremely helpful to have those conversations with people and to be able to listen to what they say, but also to practice my speaking. And again, this is debatable whether this is helpful early in the learning process. But I started it very, very early. I started probably a month or 2 into learning Spanish. I started trying to speak with native speakers, and I think that because of that, my accent and my ability to formulate thoughts and get them out of my mouth and into the air has been, let's just say, I think I'm further along than if somebody wasn't practicing it this whole time. And tip number 3 is do something every single day. Every single day, even if it's 5 or 10 minutes of reading an article online. You have the entire internet at your disposal if you have a smartphone. So if you have a smartphone, look up an article, whether it's if you're a sports fan, ESPN Deportes, or read the news in Spanish. You can do any of that kind of stuff. I think that it's very important to do something every day, because if you just try and do 3 hours on the weekend and then nothing else during the week, you're not going to be getting that consistent input, that consistent stimulus for your brain to change every single day. And you're going to forget stuff. You're going to forget what the grammar structures. You're going to forget the vocabulary. You're going to forget all that kind of stuff if you only do every so often. So make sure that you are getting as much of that input in as possible, but doing something every single day. So that's all I've got for you guys today. So head on out there, keep learning, and I will see you next time. Nos vemos.